Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be painting some little teeny tiny paintings, 3x4, because I have decided to participate in a local art project. It's called Art in the Wild, and what they've effectively done is taken a old tattoo/sticker vending machine and filled it with little folders full of art by local artists. They contacted me and asked if I would like to participate, or invited me to participate, and I have agreed. So because of the machines, there's a limitation on the size, so that's why they have to be about 3x4. There wasn't really a prompt or a theme, just kind of uplifting, which I get. They want it to be like an enjoyable experience to get this surprise art. Oh yeah, and you put $1 into the machine, $1 in quarters, and you get a random piece of art from a local artist is the premise. And then you can like share it on social media and stuff like that, which is really, really cool. It seemed really exciting. Nothing really makes me happier than mushrooms and color and sparkly stuff in art. So I figured I would just do very colorful things with some metallic paints, and some of them are mushrooms. The ones in this video are all mushrooms. Now, I'm aiming for 17 small paintings, but in this video I've only done 4. I was originally intending on doing like 8 in this video, but it's been really, really dark lately, so I haven't had much good lighting to film with. So we've got 4. I've completed 4, and I might do a follow-up video doing the rest of them. And I did some before this video as well, because I wasn't sure if I was going to film it or not at the time, and those ones I did 5 eyes. So 5 eyes, I'm doing 4 mushrooms, and I think the next few I do are going to be birds, because that seems like it would work really well on such a small format. So I started off, I've got 4 little pieces of watercolor paper taped down to the board, and that way I can work on all of them at once, kind of. I ended up working on them 2 at a time, because 2 of them are in portrait and 2 of them are in landscape, but it still saved me some time because I was able to switch back and forth between them instead of having to wait for this tiny painting to dry in order to work on it at all. I could work on the other one. I just kind of picked mushrooms that I thought looked cool. I have a whole board of mushrooms saved on my Pinterest board, so I just looked for exciting, fun colors and shapes. I tried to just keep the backgrounds kind of abstract. The only one that has like a very the only one that has a very clear and readable background is the, I think it's called the hairy ink cap mushroom. I decided to make that one kind of sunny and out in the field because I have found them out in like grassy areas before, not just in the woods. So I thought that would add some nice variety. It ended up being kind of boring, and I added to the background later after I turned off the camera. But I really like how they all turned out. I just went for like really, really saturated, colorful, interesting mushrooms so that they'd be really exciting to pull out of the folder, and you get an instant flash of ooh, color, and then there's a little bit of metallic, so as you're turning it in the light, because it's such a small and mobile piece of art, it's like ooh, sparkle, so it'd be really exciting. I kept the backgrounds very, like I said, I kept the backgrounds very, very minimal and kind of abstracted. For the red mushrooms, I tried to emulate the sort of texture of a coniferous forest floor. If you don't live somewhere with lots of conifer trees, you won't know that the ground of the woods there is almost entirely pine needles. And so it slowly breaks down into this very particular soil, but it all has this very nice visual texture from all of these needles everywhere. So I tried to kind of emulate that without going crazy over it. They are very small pieces of art that I'm just going to be giving away for free, so I didn't want to like freak out or go crazy about trying to make it the most insane detailed thing. I just wanted them to be really nice for whoever ended up having them. Because we have reached 500 subscribers on this channel, I put a couple of calls out for questions to do a little Q&A, a little one. And I'm just gonna wrap it up into this video because there weren't too many questions. It's still not that many people, and not everyone's going to leave a question, so to get as many as I did is still pretty great. And I wanted to say thank you to everyone who left a question, and everyone who subscribed and helped me reach this goal. Cobalt Opera says, congrats. Questions for Q&A. What made you first get into art? How have your preferences for things like mediums, colors, techniques, etc. changed over the years? Alright, so first question first. What made you first get into art? It's hard to say, because I've always done art, ever since I was very, very little. But I do think that I've always kind of used it as an escape. I've always used it to distract myself when life wasn't feeling so good, wasn't going so good, and as a way to just kind of get lost in my mind. I've always done stuff like that. So yeah, I think it was just, I was a creative kid and I needed an escape, and so art was a very approachable escape. Another thing that I think definitely played a role is just dragons. I thought dragons were sick, and all I would draw as a kid was dragons. Just tons and tons of dragons. So yeah, combination of like kind of shitty childhood and dragons. We can focus on the dragons. That's more cheerful. How have your preferences for things like mediums, colors, techniques, etc. changed over the years? Okay, so not when I first got into art, because that was when I was really, really little, but when I first started taking art seriously, I was using just pencils, and I had some cheap fine liners, and yeah, Sharpies. I had this massive box of like all the color Sharpies, and that's what I used. And I used that for a really long time. So I guess you could say I started with alcohol markers, effectively. But I started getting into, like, the idea of painting. I liked the idea of having more control, which sounds weird, but you have control over the colors you get through mixing, and you have more control because Sharpies and alcohol markers bleed and stuff like that. And I just wanted more flexibility and to be able to reach a higher level. But for a long time it was fine liners, and then I got watercolors because they seemed kind of approachable in a way. Like, you didn't need much supplies, you needed paper and brushes and paint. That was kind of it. So in that way it was really, really approachable. And so I got a White Nights watercolor palette, the nice big one, and that was what I used for years. I still have it, I still use it, it's still fantastic. And since then I've also, branched out into other things, but that's mainly it. Colors, I've always loved colors, I've always loved all colors. I love really, really colorful stuff. But I've also always liked moody colors, so I've just kind of pushed to perfect what I like in that way. And I've always been sort of driven towards improvement. So it's just been about getting better, really, and in that way you find different pathways that you pursue. Alright, it is the next day because a lot of stuff went wrong yesterday, so we are continuing today. I'm not going to pronounce this right, but Ilon Deliest 6085 says, or asks, sorry, it would be very interesting to hear about your art journey before YouTube. Maybe some of your biggest inspirations or artists you look up to. Hope it's not too vague of a question, and probably, if you and your boyfriend are alright with it, since it's almost Valentine's Day, share a bit of your love story. Alright, there are like 3 questions in that question, but that's cool. Alright, so my art journey before YouTube is not terribly interesting. I started taking art seriously at about 16 and just really pursuing getting better instead of just, trying to start from one point and make a finished piece. You know, how we all do when we're really little or when we're young. And I've just been trying to really pursue a certain level of skill where I felt comfortable pursuing an art career, because I just didn't feel like I was at that level for a really long time. And I was dealing with some health stuff that put it back a bit. So really, YouTube is where my art journey gets interesting, as far as I'm concerned. I was doing Instagram for a while, and I still have an Instagram. It's linked in my bio and all that. But I was doing Instagram for a really long time. I was very, diligent, and there were just zero payoff. I really got started after Instagram started going downhill for artists, so yeah, there really weren't any sort of dividends from that. There wasn't any reward for my effort in any way, and it was really disheartening, so I decided to give YouTube a shot. But yeah, that's really it. It's not super interesting before that. Biggest inspirations and artists I look up to. I said in my art book tour that I really like Lauren Marks and Iris Compete. Never been sure how to pronounce her last name. They're very inspiring, but the one thing I do think I really struggle with is finding specific inspirations that I want to study and pursue in order to improve my art and gain the qualities I admire in their art and pick it up and put it into my art. I struggle with picking avenues of inspiration to follow for that. I'd say that's the one thing I really struggle with. So I can't really give you a super good answer, in all honesty, because I find so many artists inspiring in so many different ways and for so many different reasons. As for the love story bit, I can give you a little bit of that. We met when I was 18 and he was 17. This was a while ago, and I'd say within a year we were effectively living together, and we've just kind of been together ever since. Yeah, we've been together a while. We've been together a while now, and honestly, couldn't be happier. Sorry that's not as interesting as it could be, but Next question from Change My Mind 06. They ask, just curious if you plan on venturing beyond watercolor, or is that your art love? If so, what other mediums? Alright, so I actually experiment with a lot of different mediums, but I do appreciate that I've only ever really shown watercolors on this channel so far. But I really enjoy gouache. I really enjoy any form of liquid graphite. I just love. I have a couple of different types. I've got some Derwent Graphitant pencils. I don't know if I'm getting that name right. Whatever. That are amazing. They're like watercolor pencils with graphite in them. So good. And I've got some liquid graphite from, I believe the brand is Derivan, maybe? And I love both of them. They're so cool. I have experimented with Gansai paints, which are called Japanese watercolors. They're not like Western watercolors. They are significantly different. And inks and all kinds of stuff. The one thing I really would like to try out in the future is oils. At some point, I'm pretty limited on space, and they are more expensive to get into than watercolors or gouache, where you just kind of need the paper and the paint and the brushes. Oil paints, it's like you need a lot of paint, and you need canvas and solvents and an easel and all kinds of stuff. So and more space. So I don't know when I would ever get, or when I would get into that, but I would definitely love to. And there are other things I want to do. I would love to do miniatures at some point, because I think miniatures are so cool. And just all kinds of stuff. I'd love to do ceramics again. I did some pottery type stuff when I was a kid, and I really enjoyed it. So there's all kinds of stuff I'd love to do. But I do really love watercolors. I do think watercolors are my true love when it comes to art, just because they have so much personality. I think unlike other mediums, watercolors are less of a, you're not using them, you're working with them. They have a personality, and it's like a collaboration between you and the art supply more than any other art supply I've tried. So I really like that about them, and I love how much personality each individual pigment can have as well, as opposed to just the personality of the medium. I do think watercolors are my true love, but I also love experimenting and trying other things, and I'd love to work really large, which is more suited to oils. So yeah, yes to everything. The one thing I don't want to try is acrylics. I've worked with them before, I don't like them. What is your ethnicity? I hope that's not too blunt. When I first saw your videos, I got major edgy modern Cleopatra vibes. I'm just super curious, but you can definitely ignore this question. Okay, personally, I don't mind this question, and I think you're mostly just getting the Cleopatra vibes from the eyeliner. I am mixed. I am mixed white and Native American. Specifically, I am a descendant of the Jamestown S'Klallam tribe, and different tribes have different rules over who gets to be called a member of a tribe and who gets to be called just a descendant of the tribe and what have you. So my specific tribe's rules are that I am a descendant, my grandma is a full member, right? And after that, we're descendants. But yeah, and then on the white European side, it's like, it's all kinds of stuff. There's like Irish and Swedish, if you go way back. It's Swedish. We've got some Swedish, and then some other stuff. I don't really know much about that. But yeah, so that is all of the questions I got. If there was a question that I missed, it's probably because I got it after I started recording the Q&A session. So those were all of the questions. Thank you to everyone who left a question. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the art. I hope that the answers to the questions were at least somewhat interesting. And I hope you have a fantastic day. If you liked the video, like, subscribe, and of course, leave a comment if you're feeling saucy. And I'll see you next time. Bye.